So Aaron is working on a new episode as part of a new series, which is called Untold Stories. So before we leave today, can you tell us a little bit about that? Because it sounds incredibly interesting.
Well, yes, we're telling the story of Donald Best, who actually produced the interview I did with Maxime Bernier. He was the producer and the director. And Donald Best himself has a fascinating story. He's one of the bravest people I've ever met. He was a police officer in Toronto who blew the whistle on corruption inside the Toronto police force, which won him some friends, but it also won him many enemies as well. And then he's since blown the whistle on corruption inside the Canadian legal system, where it's a long, complicated story, but basically he was imprisoned based on false evidence and secret collusion between a judge and a group of high-powered lawyers in Canada who basically wanted to destroy him because he was also exposing corruption that they were linked to, which is another long story. And his case is amazing because Donald Best is a former cop. And so he brings the tools of the trade with him to exposing corruption, which meant that he collected evidence on tape of corruption, of legal corruption, and he had the evidence. And the legal corruption he was up against was so strong that the judge in his case refused to listen to tapes that he had that basically would have proved his entire case. And not only did the judge refuse to listen to this evidence and admit it, the judge then basically jailed Donald Best, put him in solitary confinement, and then secretly extended Donald Best's sentence while Donald Best was in prison. So refusing to hear evidence, relying on secret evidence that Donald Best could not even challenge, colluding with the opposing counsel, and then making secret decisions behind Donald Best's back. And so it's an amazing story that I couldn't believe when I heard it. But, it's backed up not just by, the evidence that Donald Best has collected, but also he has people like the former police commissioner of Ontario and a former cabinet minister in Canada, a man named Julian Fantino, who spoke out against what Donald Best went through because he was just so disgusted by it, and other people as well. So it's an amazing story. Donald Best is not afraid of anybody, and because of that, he's faced a lot of retribution. And so in this next thing we're doing, we're going to tell his story. And it's a really fascinating story, and it's just one of these stories that I couldn't believe was true when I came across it. But that's why it's going to make for great TV whenever we finally do put it out.
Well, I'm certainly looking forward to it. We'll have to definitely talk about that. Judges, secret hearings, and secret evidence gathering. And it's what, U.S., Canada, and the U.K., right? I mean, that sounds like something everybody, especially as we're talking about today, everyone seems to be getting wind that this seems to be the status quo around these political oriented governments today. And clearly it's something that everyone's going to be interested in. So
yes,
go ahead.
And it's like, this is the thing. It's not, and Donald Best is the first to say this. He's become a whistleblower and a campaigner for this because his was not the only instance of this. He just basically is someone who managed to collect so much evidence documenting it. But for him, this has become a crusade, and to speak out against what he says is a very prevalent use of secret evidence and secret hearings. And this sort of, again, as we were talking about before with Maxime Bernier and Tulsi Gabbard, this rarefied club in this time inside the legal profession, whereas before we're talking about it inside of politics. He's saying that same dynamic applies to the legal profession, where you have basically this elite club of judges and lawyers who basically all act not to protect rights and justice, but to protect each other. And so he's using his own case to call out this dynamic across the justice and a legal profession. And it's fascinating. It's very noble. And so his story is a great vehicle to explore a much wider problem.
Well, it's definitely something that will probably get some more people paying attention. So it's definitely, and this is exactly what we are supposed to be doing. And this is exactly why we're out there making a difference. So I'm really looking forward to seeing that. Thank you so much for joining me today, Aaron. Any social media links you want to drop or words of wisdom to leave people with today?
Well, Ryan, I just thank you for having me on. I really appreciate this conversation, and I appreciate independent voices like yours who are, providing an alternative to this corporate media system that everybody is just so fed up with. And so I appreciate the opportunity to come on and to discuss these issues with you.
It's a pleasure to have you, and you're welcome on anytime. Aaron's full interview that we discussed today with Bernier will be airing tomorrow, I believe, on Super Channel. There'll be links in the description below for a 30-day free trial in select areas. So be sure and check that out. It's well worth your time. And we actually have a few exciting projects in the work as well. So, that may change a few things. So get ready for that. As always, everyone out there, question everything. Come to your own conclusions. Stay vigilant.